All right. Welcome, everybody. I guess everybody's kind of trickling in. Welcome. Welcome. We've got about 100 that registered. But I'm excited, guys. As you're checking in, I'm really excited. I do a lot of trainings, but for some reason, this one had me really excited to put together. I think it's because, this medical courier as an opportunity is such a great opportunity for those people that have kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. You don't have to have a ton of credentials to do this. You don't have to have advanced degrees. You don't have to have any medical specific medical degrees or anything like that. Really, anybody can do this. Whether you just kind of want to do it for side hustle money, all the way up to building out, something that you can have employees and all that kind of stuff. So I get excited to share about this. As you're trickling in, a little housekeeping, you'll notice that you have a chat button, and you should have a Q&A button as well. So let's get familiar with that. I always like to kind of get a lay of the land and kind of see who we've got in the building, so to speak. So this is what I want you to do. Find that chat button. And this is for the fellas. I want to start off with the fellas, my dogs. Drop a 1 in the comment, fellas. I just kind of want to see how many fellas we got. Drop a 1 in the comment, fellas, in the chat. All right. All right, David, I see you. Oh, okay. Wait, okay. So it looks like it's disabled. We'll disregard that then. We'll see if we can get that fixed. But yeah, okay. So the chat, we'll have to work on that. But you'll have the Q&A. It looks like chat is disabled. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. We'll get that fixed here shortly. But you see the Q&A. So that's the other piece I wanted to kind of make you familiar with. As we get through the presentation, you have an opportunity to ask questions. I'll be monitoring that. So put that question in the Q&A if you have questions. So that's housekeeping. So look, I just want to introduce myself real quick. We've got another host, as you may have seen in the promo. I'll give her a chance to introduce herself in just a second. But of course, my name is Alton RL. A lot of you may follow me on social media. And thanks for the follow, by the way. I always think it's pretty neat that somebody would click that button and follow you and care about something you might be saying. But thank you. But yeah, Alton RL, I'm from the Atlanta, Georgia area. For those of you out there in that 404, I'm out here in Atlanta, Georgia. But I've been a serial entrepreneur, for forever. I can remember, as a youngster, doing a lemonade stand with a buddy of mine, Chantel Lovely, shout out to her. But just always been a serial entrepreneur, been fascinated with, being able to take $1, turn it to $1.15. I've been doing that, worked in corporate America, like many of you may have worked a job, but it was always tugging at me to be something more than just working a job. That's why I'm fascinated with something like this medical courier, because it can give you that freedom to do something besides working the 9 to 5 and working for somebody else. I always tell the story, years ago, I was working in a call center, and, and just disgusted, just absolutely hated the job. I felt like there's a better way. I can remember I used to pull up to the building and I would literally call in sick from the parking lot, right there from the parking lot. I just would look at the building and would just say, I can't do it today. Can't do it today. So I know a lot of you are like me, where you might be in that job and you feel that there's a better way. So I think, this medical courier definitely is something that could be that for you. So that's me. Renee, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, good evening. I am Renee, also known as the Courier Chick. I live in Orlando, Florida. I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. Been here for quite some time, but I'm not a Floridian. I am an Alabamian, but I just live in Florida. I've been a medical courier for a little over a year. Quit my full-time job to start this courier business. Kind of got tired. When you get tired of being sick and tired. So that's how I started my business. I have 2 adult children, a daughter and a son, and then two beautiful grandchildren. Fun fact about me is I am a twin and I love to travel. I am so excited for you guys to be here with us tonight. I hope you brought your notebook and your pencil because class will be in session. We have a lot of good information for you. And I'm excited. I'm excited for all of us to for all of you to get your medical courier business started.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Yeah, welcome. I'm excited too. I didn't know we've been talking all this time. I didn't know you were a twin, Renee.
A lot of people don't know. I am
Identical?
fraternal. We don't even look like we related.
Okay.
I'm number two. Yeah, I'm twin number two. We actually have a birthday coming up. So yeah, I have a twin. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't even know I have siblings because I'm the one, it's three of us. So I'm the one that's always kind of in the forefront. And my sister's a school teacher. She's a little laid back, and my brother is very laid back. So yeah, a lot of people don't even know I have siblings.
Wow, interesting. That is a fun fact. That is a fun fact. Well, we're gonna get into it because in the interest of time, we've got a lot of information for you guys. It's gonna be jam packed with information, like we said. But we want to be sensitive to your time. We don't want you here all night, and we want to open it up for questions toward the end because I'm sure you have some. But like I said, throughout the presentation, if you have questions, you've seen that Q&A button. Go ahead and drop them. That way, we don't run past something if you want clarity on something. So don't be afraid to use that Q&A. I'll be monitoring that. Renee touched on it, but get your notes, take plenty of notes, take screenshots. We won't, because of copyright reasons, we won't be sending out the presentation after the fact. So just make sure you take notes and ask those questions. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Let's see. Renee, I'll pull up the presentation.
Is everybody able to hear me good? Sound is okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect.
All right, so let's see here. So let's go ahead and bring up presentation and get right into it. All right, so we kind of went over this. I'm your host, Alton RL. This is my email, and I'll put my information back up at the end if you want to, give me any feedback on the presentation. If you want to reach out, I'll put that back up toward the end, so you'll have that. And Renee, you kind of introduced yourself, but if you want to add anything else.
Yep, that's me, Renee the Courier Chick. I am the owner operator of Castile Transport LLC. Castile, my name has a lot of sentimental value. So Castile is my last name. Wanted to always have my grandkids to always remember their Gigi, that's what they call me, and her business venture. So this was one of the many businesses that I had that this was the only one that I named after my family name. And then my email and phone number.
All right. Let's see here. There we go. So you want to go over the itinerary? I can kind of breeze through it. But yeah, so today these are kind of the bullet points. Of course, we may deviate into some other things if you have questions. But you can kind of see the itinerary. We're going to go over the medical courier business. What is it? Exactly. Business setup, which is very important. I'm sure Renee will agree. Very important to have your business set up for success. So we'll kind of go over some tidbits there, requirements to do this, supplies, equipment, some of the essentials, routes specifically. We'll talk about that. Apps and websites for contracts. That's a big topic. Standard service charges. How do you charge? Once you get to that point, you're getting contracts. What do you charge? How do you charge it? How do you calculate that? Renee will touch on that. Question to ask when dispatch calls. Those conversations. Talk about that. Courier pickup checklist. How to be prepared. What this looks like. A lot of you have kind of seen it surface level, but what do you need to be? What do you need to have to be prepared? Courier companies. Then we've got a bonus for you too. I won't reveal it, but we've got a bonus for you that'll really be helpful. If you're serious about this as a business, this will really help you. So let's get right into it.
Okay. Okay, so medical courier business. What is a medical courier? Who are we? What do we do, right? So a medical courier is a courier that specializes um, in delivery services, and we are responsible for delivering lab specimens, medical items, samples, medications, medical records, equipment, and sometimes even organs. I've delivered a thumb before. So we also follow strict protocols. We have to be in compliance with some state and local government requirements, and we also follow a very strict time schedule. So as a medical courier, we are out here delivering medical supplies, equipment, and documents, all of that, what we can deliver in our car, SUVs, or even cargo vans. Okay, so some of the delivery items that we deliver, and I did touch on that a little bit. Like I said, the excuse me, the medical lab specimens and supplies, but can go a little further than that. It doesn't always have to be something dealing with medical, right? So there's packages, documents, letters, and correspondence, samples, retail or wholesale goods, online orders, legal documents, and even specialty items. Those are all delivery items for a courier. Okay, and then now our target customers, who do we target for either courier services or medical services? So some of the customers that we target are medical facilities, healthcare professionals, pharmaceutical corporations, research institutions, home healthcare agencies, e-commerce businesses, small businesses. And when I say small businesses, let's just think outside the box a little bit with that one. There's a lot of online orders, right? And people have well, you can order something like locally, and then you can either have it picked up. So I've even at some point, when I first started marketing myself to local boutiques when their customers order items off of their website. And now actually you need a delivery driver. And instead of charging the customer that $5.95 shipping, I took a few items. So you can do target yourself to small businesses like that. Also legal firms such as lawyers, lawyer firms, and notary professionals. Another one, if you want to go a little bit further, you can even target yourself to breeders for smaller pets. If you have like a car, and then if you have a minivan or a cargo van, you might can go a little bigger, but you want to market yourself to whatever could fit in that car if that's something you're interested in, if you want to go on the lines of doing the pets, right? Also, you can do what is it? Food delivery. You can target yourself to caterers within the community, um, accounting firms, consulting agencies, and doctors, dental clinics, and also local smaller pharmacies and laboratories. Okay. Okay, a business setup. This is very important. And if you follow me or if you follow Austin on the TikTok, we touch on this business setup. This is very important. How you set up and structure your business. When I am talking to my mentees or the people in my group chat, I use the word successful and legitimize. You want to set up a legitimized business so that you can be a successful medical courier. Okay, so we're going to first start with mindset. You have to have a positive future vision. So don't go in and say, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm scared to leave my job. And have that positive mindset. Remember, you are what you say. So if you have a vision that I want to have a medical courier business, have a positive future vision for your business, okay? And then you want to start with a business plan. The business plan outlines your goals, your target market, services offered, your pricing structure, as well as marketing strategies and your financials. Okay. Now let's go to the fictitious name. You go to your Secretary of State and you're going to check and see whatever that is that you want to name your business is that name is not taken. But here, listen to this. Get your pen and paper ready because now it's time to take some real good notes. There are 6 business names that you want to include in your name that is not considered risky. And I'm going to give you those names. And they are consulting, services, solutions, enterprise, logistics. How many is that? Consulting, services, enterprise, logistics. Hold on, y'all. It's 2 more. I'm trying to go off memory. That didn't work. Bear with
And why you're looking for that, maybe touch on why those having those in your business name should be avoided.
Oh, so those are the names you want to.
Those are the ones you want to include. Okay.
So words like transport, courier, you want to be careful of those names because they are considered risky. And when you are upscaling your business and you want to go into that business funding and get business grants, those risky names will cause you to have higher rates because it is considered a risky business. So there are also the NAICS codes as well that would help with that. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Yep. I was going to touch on that. So NAICS codes, for people who may not know what it is, and it might be a foreign language to you, but NAICS codes, and I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's essentially a business classification, and it has everything from transportation to food service. So these NAICS codes get assigned to your business, and a lot of times what happens is when you go to the bank to set up a bank, without you even knowing it, sometimes they'll make an assumption of what type of business you are, and they'll assign a specific NAICS code in their system. Not necessarily a NAICS code, but they'll identify you a certain way where down the road you might be classified as risky, and you're wondering why, I tried to apply for that credit card or that loan or that, that short-term funding, and why I keep getting denied. So you want to stay away from, like you said, those risky terms in your business name. I like to just kind of have the something that sounds very professional, where people can't necessarily tell what it is that you do, and they can't make assumptions, and they can't classify you as in a certain way. So you want to pay, extreme careful attention and pay attention to that when you're setting up your business. You want to have something professional. Sometimes, the temptation is to have that name that, it means something to you, but really pay close attention to having something that is really professional and people can't assume what you do right off the bat. I like, things like you mentioned, enterprises or something like that. Maybe your initials and enterprises, because they can't really tell that you're a courier. They won't assume maybe you're carrying hazardous materials. So you want to set it up so that they don't make an assumption. You want to set it up so that, unbeknownst to you, you're not being disqualified because you're deemed to be a risky business. So that's why that's extremely important, to make sure what your name of your business is.
Absolutely. And as I learned, because like I said, when I started this, I was new. I didn't have a me to help me. So my name, Castile Transport, I'm actually going to change and do a DBA to Castile Enterprise. And another reason is because I'm going to add some more services. So if you want to have whatever name and put courier, then you're limiting yourself to only do courier work. So that was a good point. You said you want to make it very professional, but leave it broad so people can't just sit there and kind of figure out what your, what type of services that you offer. So those 6 business names you can use that are not considered high risk industries are consulting, services, enterprise, logistics, worldwide, and solutions. So those are the 6 names that you may want to include in when you're naming your business. So your name is very important. So be very careful with that, because when you want to upscale and apply for, your credit cards and your funding and grants, then you won't get those denials and don't know why.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think we might have touched on it, but Raymond was asking what are the risky names? Um,
So transport, courier, express.
yep.
I don't know why logistics is not. I think it should be.
Right.
What was another one? Um, those were as far as in the transportation industry, those would
Right.
be some of the ones. But I Googled when I was thinking of another business one time. I Googled, and it's a lot of
A
names. You
lot of
got
them.
to
Yeah.
really be surprised, but
Yeah.
you want to stay away from anything that would make it seem like you're on the road and can have an accident.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So we don't there. I don't know that there's a comprehensive list, but you want to stay away from those things. You don't want to be, Williams Pharmaceutical Transport or something like that. You just want to stay away from those. I like keeping it simple. Another thing I touched on, and I see it, in business where when you consider your name, you another reason you want to keep it professional is because it's unfortunate, but there's biases.
Right.
People look at names and they just kind of make assumptions of whether you might be professional or not. You want to make sure that you get. I think Renee, you touched on it, but it doesn't cost much to invest in an actual domain. GoDaddy sells them for I think what $9.99. Get a professional email, info@cdwenterprises.com, because it matters. And I see it a lot. The other day I was doing something else and I saw an email from a guy. I think it was Black Hercules 312 or something like that. So you want to stay away from anything that seems to be unprofessional when you set up your name. Now, were you going to touch on it? How to get the LLC, because I get that a lot, and it's different in each state. So I'm always hesitant to talk specifically how to do it in each state. But to get the LLC, you just go to your Secretary of State, get that set up. There's some third parties that will do it, and you can invest in a third party to do it, but you really could navigate through it yourself. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. But your Secretary of State, if you just Google, you're in Michigan, Secretary of State, corporations, and you should be able to find how to get that set up. And I think you were going to get into it. And the EIN is similar. That's on the federal. That didn't cost you anything to get a tax identification number. So those are two of the things you want to get right out the gate. Is to get some sort of company structure that's going to protect you and keep you separate while you're doing this from anything personal, any personal liability. Because not to scare you, but there is liability when you're dealing with things that have to be certain places in a timely manner that are life or death. When you've got liability, you really want to keep everything separate from your personal stuff.
Absolutely. And let me just share with you. I have a friend. She has a box truck. She has 5 box trucks, and she has an LLC, of course. And one of her drivers fell asleep, ran over, or hit a motorcycle driver. He didn't pass, but he did have to get his foot cut off. She had that $1 million policy, and that's what they sued her LLC for. Now, had she not had that policy, can you imagine? They would have went after her. She's a homeowner. They would have went after every asset that she has. And then she had a balloon policy as well. So that's what they sued her for. So definitely get that LLC. So when you get your LLC, now I had the steps up here on the screen on how to start the LLC and the things that you want to get first. So with the LLC, excuse me, you want to be sure you get your email. So ditch your Gmail, no more Gmail, and Alton talked about that. Go ahead and get your business domain and the email. Okay. Go ahead and get your virtual address. If you don't have a brick and mortar, get you a virtual address. It is a more polished and professional look for your business. No PO box. Make your virtual address is going to look like an actual street address. ipostal.com, I think it's ipostal1.com, has them for $9.99. You can even get mail there. I didn't get all of that, but this $9.99. You want to be sure you also are keeping your business expenses very low. So just go with the basic plans. With the virtual address, you want to also be sure you get you an 800-888 or 866 number. Freedomvoice.com is where you can get that. There's others. This is just some of the common ones. It's $9.99 as well. You're going to get 400 free minutes, and you can transfer that 800 number to your business cell phone number. That 800 number is just letting lenders and other people that you might have any kind of business relations with know that that is a business number. So you're keeping your business and your personal affairs separate. It is basically for marketing purposes. And again, it's a more polished and professional look. Now, when you are applying for any kind of grants or credit, they will call that, an underwriter will call that 800 number to verify that you do have that as a business phone number. Now that you have your business domain, your virtual address, and your 800 number is when you apply for that LLC, because that LLC is going to go into the, you're going to use your virtual address for that LLC, your email for your contact, and that 800 number as well. And then you apply for that EIN. Business bank account is not on here, but you get your EIN and business bank account. The business bank account and the EIN has to be in the same name. So I know you got your LLC, but you don't want to get your business bank account, in anything other than what that LLC and EIN number. And then you go get that DUNS number. Your DUNS number helps determine reliability and financial stability of your company. Okay.
Hey,
So,
Renee, I'm sorry to cut you off, but Nick is asking, if I go out and get a PO box, is that fine, or does that count as the virtual address, or
no,
do I?
it's not. Not for an LLC. You do not want to use a post office box for your LLC. That was the whole reasoning for your virtual address. So you want to use a virtual, like it's a street address.
Okay, gotcha. So you're going to want some sort of brick and mortar address,
Correct.
not just a PO box. Okay.
So what happens is they will Google that address, and it has to be at a standalone with a parking lot is what they look for.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What site? Someone's asking. You mentioned a site for the phone number. You threw a name out there.
Yes, freedomvoice.com, FREEDOM, the word voice, VOICE.com. It's $9.99 a month, and like I said, you're gonna get 400 minutes. They have all these different pricing plans. They look real nice, and I mean, I even wanted to get it, but remember, the more business expenses you have, the less your profit margin is going to be, because now when you get paid, you got to pay all these other bills. Keep it very simple. Like I said, transfer that 800 number to your cell phone number. I don't even know my 800 number. I never use it. It's for market. I put it on my, my marketing materials, but I never use it. It's just, like I said, it's just for marketing purposes, but it gives you that polished and professional look as well. And then for the EIN, you're going to go to irs.gov and get that EIN. You get it, it takes about 10 minutes maybe to get to apply. Yeah, you get it the same night. But like I said, that EIN and that business bank account is going to have to be in the same name, and you're going to need that EIN document to apply for your business bank account. Business bank account, there are hundreds out there. Just always, I suggest get one that's local. I did not get a bank that was local when I started out. Get a bank that is local, that you can go and make deposits and stuff like that too. There are a lot. Just always just check what the minimum balance fee is, because sometimes they charge you, and there again, that's another expense that you want. So just do your research. I'm not gonna give like a name because there are a lot. Just find one that's gonna work for you and your business needs. As
Yeah,
far
and
as
I'll say this too. I'm a fan of getting with a credit union. You know, if you
right,
qualify, if you're a former educator, teacher,
right,
military. I happen to be a veteran, so I'm with Navy Federal.
mm-hmm,
But there's tons of credit unions out there. They're real friendly in terms of relationships, so you can
mm-hmm,
build relationships. They have credit unions are different than banks because they have like an internal score. Again, because it's based on relationships. So you get in there, you start getting things on deposit, you build a relationship, and you can meet the local lending guy, and kind of lobby for, hey, I'm a good guy. I've had this business for a year or 6 months. I really love credit unions. So that would be
mm-hmm.
my recommendation. Find a local credit union and try to get into there.
Good point. I wrote that in my notes.
Oh, did
Good.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Raymond is asking about going into more detail about the DUNS number. Yeah, so a DUNS number, the way you can think of the DUNS number is it's a it's a social security number for your business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's the best way to think about it. So once you start having relationships on your with your business involved, they're gonna have access to your DUNS number. So and whether you know it or not, because when I first started out in business, I went in and looked at my DUNS number activity, and I noticed that there were inquiries and people have reported credit lines, and I had my cell phone and my name and the business name, and that was being reported on my DUNS activity. So that's the way to think of it. It's a DUNS number is equivalent to a business social security number. We'll get into it a little bit later in the presentation, but when you start getting into business funding, that's going to be extremely crucial, to have that intact, because it's going to matter with the business credit. So that's what
right.
that is. When you ask about the DUNS number, that's what
So
that is.
I see somebody put an use apartment number for your LLC. Um, I would change that. You don't want, like I said, you want to keep your business and your personal affairs totally separate. Now, what I did for my LLC is I use my apartment as the mailing address for my LLC, and my LLC is in the virtual address, but I use my home address as the mailing. So any mailings with my LLC is going to come to my home.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I'll take a couple more questions and then we'll kind of move on so we can get through it. But where do you get the DUNS number? Actually, and I haven't done it in a while, but Renee, you just go out to Dun and Bradstreet and get set up, right? You just set up your file.
Right.
Yeah, you go out to Dun and Bradstreet. It's Dun and ampersand Bradstreet, and you just get your profile set up. And once you get it set up, you'll have a DUNS number. If you already have a business, you'd be surprised. There's probably already a file out there if you've done anything, and then just kind of sync it up and match it. They'll have some proprietary products that you can get. You won't get your actual what is it, the Paydex score. You can subscribe to get that, which is really your credit score. But yeah, you just set up a file and with Dun and Bradstreet, and then you'll be good to go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. If I'm blazing over some of your questions, guys, I apologize. I promise we'll try to get to them. But we're going to get through the presentation. We'll have plenty of opportunity for us to, but keep asking the questions. I want you to ask the questions so we can feel you're engaged. Keep asking them. But if I skip you, don't feel like I'm ignoring you.
We're going to get to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about requirements for a little bit. This is another one I get from a lot of you on social media. What are the requirements? Like, what do I need to have? What do I need to do? Let's see. Is insurance on this slide? I get that one a lot, Renee.
Appropriate auto insurance. And I said I got appropriate because some companies require different policy limits. So the standard is just your regular car insurance. Doing the medical courier using your vehicle, like your Honda or whatever, your Toyota Camry, you just need regular car insurance. You don't need a commercial plan. However, Some companies, medical carrier companies, will require for your bodily injury to be a little higher than the standard, and that is the 100,000 per accident, 300,000 per person, and then 50,000 for your cargo. So you're going to see the 100,000, 300,000, and 50. That is what that is for. Excuse me. You just call your insurance company. You don't want to say, hey, I'm a medical carrier. You just call and say, I need to change the limits for my bodily injury. And they'll go ahead and change this. Once a 5-minute phone call for you to change that. Now,
Right. Yeah. So I just want to stop real quick. So I hope everybody caught that. The key is, we're not asking you to do anything illegal or that you're not supposed to do, but you don't want to lead the conversation. You don't want to call your insurance company or an agent and say, hey, I'm doing this medical courier thing, because that could tip them off. They don't understand it. And you don't want to get in a situation where you're paying too much for something you don't need. But yeah, like Renee said, you see 100, 350 is kind of how you'll see it written. 100 for auto liability is actually, what is it, per person, 300 per occurrence, and then you got the 50 in property damage and that sort of thing. So yeah, the way the conversation will go with your insurance, it's like, hey, I just need to raise those rates to 100, 350. And that's what you see is most common, like Renee said.
Right. Mm-hmm. The MVR, that stands for Motor Vehicle Report. That is what they're going to run to see what your driving record looks like. That's very important for medical carrier. They don't want nobody that's ran over people and don't know how to stop at the speeding lights, right? So be sure that you have a good driving record. Normally they go back 3 years. They do look for repeated offenses for your speeding and they're definitely going to look for DUIs, but they normally go back 3 years, 3 good years of a driving record. Also, something to mention about that is they do want you to have a U.S. driver license and driving in the U.S. for the past 3 years as well. The age limit varies, but standard is about 21 years old. The criminal background, my inbox every day is asked about that criminal background.
I get that too.
What do they look for? Every company is different, guys, but for the most part, they're looking for drug offenses and any violent offenses against women, children, and the elderly. Definitely can't have felonies. So I'm always asking, if I have a felony, can I still do a medical courier? Yes, but what I always suggest you do is, if you apply and you get denied, find out what the requirements are. Maybe it's a 7 year and you're right at maybe 6, so you have like another year to go. I have several friends that have some past background offenses, and they still are able to get a whole LLC and the medical contract. So always just ask what those requirements are. Don't just give up there just because you get denied. Find out what the requirements are, and then that's how you can, work your way towards that. That 10-panel drug screen is going to be required for medical. A lot of companies do require that. We talked about the auto insurance and HIPAA. You got to be HIPAA compliant. This, guys, is so important that you are HIPAA compliant, because it's going to teach you how to safeguard your patient or the specimens information that you're going to be transporting in your personal vehicle. The class is offered by a very nice gentleman on TikTok named Ken Arnold, and there's a website, integritydelivers.com, where you can go and get that class. It's a HIPAA and then the bloodborne pathogen. Very effective for being a medical courier. A lot of companies require it. Go ahead. It's very good to show that you know how to transport lab specimens. It's going to teach you what to do if you have a spill. It's also going to teach you how to safeguard your patient's information, how to package and load up your vehicle, and to avoid any kind of spills or any kind of damages to the loads or the items that you are transporting. So do you have to be HIPAA compliant? Absolutely. Absolutely you do. There are many companies that put it in their requirements that you do. So the motor vehicle report in the background are, most of the time, those are going to be your expenses that you're going to have to pay. You are independent contractor, you are entrepreneur. So a lot of companies do put that expense on you. The motor vehicle report is about $20 to $30, and that background check, they range about 40 to 70. I paid up to $69 for one. Um, if you have one from a previous job or something like that, it depends on the company if they're going to accept it. Most of the times they don't. They like to use their own third party company to do those background checks. So you can ask, but that motor vehicle report and that background check is going to be at your expense. So when you are applying, y'all have a few extra dollars aside so that you're able to afford that cost. And if you don't, then you remember there's competition out here. So you want to be sure that when you're applying, you have everything you need so you can go ahead and get that application in and get that onboarding process started. One other thing I wanted to mention, I'm so sorry, and I got my note here. What type of vehicle, how old can your vehicle be? They're gonna go back between 2008, 2009 at the latest for those vehicles. The reason being is they want something reliable on the road so that you're not breaking down. Because remember, a lot of the medical is very time sensitive. So they're looking for vehicles either 2008 or 9 or newer. Okay.
Okay, somebody's asking about Ken. It's integrity. I'm drawing a blank, Renee. It's integrity.
Delivers. IntegrityDelivers.com.
IntegrityDelivers.com.
Delivers with an S.
IntegrityDelivers.com. Yeah, he's really good. And for those of you concerned about having to take those classes, don't be concerned about it. It's not a big deal. I get people to say, oh, I'm not a good test taker and I don't study well. It's not that sort of deal. So they're real easy to get through. But IntegrityDelivers.com. His name is Ken. Ken is the owner over there. Yeah, perfect. Somebody says I have a 2007, less than 100,000 miles. Is that a no-go? That's probably not going to work. What do you say, Renee? Yeah, 2010, 2011, 2012 is probably going to be about the oldest you're going to be able to have. So unfortunately, with 2007, you might be limited. Really limited.
The mileage doesn't count. It's the year of the vehicle is what they're going to look for. But here again, that's another company specific question. Some companies, it all depends on the company and what they require.
Got it. Yep. Let's see here. I'm just before we move on, I'm just looking to see if there's any questions we have here. Do you have to submit all the requirements to each company you apply to?
Every company is going to have their own requirements. When you apply, if you're online and you're applying to a company, they're going to ask questions. They're going to maybe want you to upload a resume. And then once you get, they get your information and they call you, then they're asked for other documents or requirements that they may have. But for the gist of what you're going to see on that job board, what they have, don't apply if you don't have everything right then and there. Make sure if they're saying you got to be HIPAA compliant, make sure you have your certification. Those certifications are good for 1 year. When you take that HIPAA and bloodborne pathogen, it is a bundle. Once you complete those courses, you'll get a certificate downloaded. Keep a copy of it in your phone. So if they say that you got to be compliant, if they say you got to have a TWIC card, we'll get on that as well. Then don't apply if you don't have it, because if you don't have it, then your application gets either in the trash or put down at the bottom of the list, and now you're back at square one. So when you're applying, be sure you meet all the requirements. Anything beyond what you see, they will ask you for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll stay right here for a second because I think people have some questions. Let's see. Joshua said, what type of card? TWIC card. So Joshua, that's a TWIC card. And like I said, we'll touch on that in just a little bit, but just kind of to give you an idea, TWIC card, when you talk about ports and railways across the country, I live here in Georgia. So in Savannah, it's a big port area. they have different measures that allow you or prevent you from going into there to either make a delivery or get a pickup. So there's a TWIC card, and that's kind of a certification like that you'll want to have to kind of open up the possibilities. But that's what a TWIC card is.
So
We'll
yeah,
get into that.
you'll need it if you live in those military bases. You definitely have to have it for the military base. You have to have it if you're picking up any kind of cargo or if you're dropping off any kind of lab specimens at the airport. So you definitely need a TWIC card for that. It's $125. I suggest anybody. So you want to get that HIPAA, your bloodborne pathogen, and your TWIC card. You are in a much better position to get contracts and a lot of different kind of orders for work when you have that. The TWIC card is not the same as TSA. I get a lot of questions about that.
Yeah,
TWIC,
William just
yeah.
asked, is TWIC card and
Okay.
TSA the same thing? Yeah.
No, they're not. They are not the same thing. TWIC stands for Transportation Worker Identification Credential. It's like your logistics driver's license, basically. It does, like Alton said, allow you to get into ports, also military bases, and also if you're going to do any pickup or drop off at the airport, you definitely need that TWIC card. It's good for like 5 years. TSA is going to allow you to get through those long airport lines without having to take off your shoes and all of that kind of stuff. Now, if you have a TWIC card, and I've never had to use it because I have TSA and global. But from my understanding, people that have a TWIC card have been able to get through TSA with the TWIC card. But I can't verify that 100% because I don't know. I haven't used it like that. But they are two separate cards for two separate reasonings that for your use for that.
Okay.
What company offers the TWIC card? TSA.gov on your one /TWIC. You can apply online at TSA.gov. You fill out the application, and then you're going to schedule an appointment. All of that will be on the website. You schedule an appointment in the area that's close to your zip code. You're going to take 2 forms of ID, and they're going to take your picture and your fingerprints and ask you a few questions, and then your card should come in the mail in about 7 to 10 business days.
All right. Let's see here. I'm just kind of before we move on because I seem like we got a lot of questions right here, so I want to try to maybe answer a couple more. I saw somebody was asking, is a 2-door car okay?
Perfect. Yeah. A 2-door car is okay, but remember this, y'all. The smaller your car, the less you're going to be able to carry. You don't never want to be able to get a load or a route, and all of it won't fit in your car. That happened last Sunday. I was doing a airport pickup, and the guy, his car was too small. He did not read the dimensions of the item on the app, so he lost out on that money. Doesn't give a good look because and I stress this a lot. You got to be able to read and follow directions. That is very important in this industry. So you definitely um want to be sure that when you are applying for these jobs like auto parts or if you want to get like a medical route, those medical routes, those totes, they're gray, they're blue, some of them are kind of big, some of them are medium sized. They are that if you got a route with 4 or 5 stops and you want to average at least 2 to 3 totes per stop, that can take up a lot of space. So it's doable. You just be careful of the kind of contracts that you're applying for, because you don't want to get something and it doesn't fit in your vehicle. You don't want to get a contract and all of the totes don't fit in your vehicle. Now there are contracts that have a lot of totes. They pay a little bit more because you're going to need a little bit more of a bigger vehicle. So instead of it being like a Honda Civic, you might need like what I have, like a Chevrolet Equinox. And I had a company that I was working with, and that was the case. The guy got the route. He had a Civic. It was a 4-door Civic, but it was averaging about 34 of those totes for the route, and they wasn't fitting in his car. So we switched routes because I had the bigger vehicle, and then they did give me a little bit more money for that.
Okay. Yeah,
Very
somebody was
important.
asked. I saw somebody asking about being new. Do you often get looked over? So maybe you can talk about that. Because
New,
I think we're kind of at that point too where people, they kind of have questions about they understand, okay, I gotta have a business, I have to have a tax ID, gotta have a bank account, I know the websites, but what is this like? What can I expect? Um, how do I get in there?
So that's a great point. Y'all, when I started, I didn't have nothing. I didn't have a business bank account. I didn't have an L. And I don't want y'all to start like that. That's why we're doing this class, because we want y'all to be successful and get a legitimized business. But I didn't start with that because the company that I was onboarding with did not require. I learned this as time went on. And how did I learn? Because I didn't know and I was new. And I had a good manager that was like, Renee, go do this. Renee, go get this. Renee, go, you need a business bank account. Renee, do this. So they help you. It's okay that you're new. If you get stuck or something and you need help, ask your regional manager, or some companies call them your operations manager. Ask your manager. Don't suffer in silence. Ask, and that's what Alton is for. That's what I'm here. Send me a message. Somebody texted me yesterday, said, hey, I got a route, it's paying this with this many stops. Is this a good deal? She's brand new. I said, I asked her what kind of car we broke that route down. I say, no, that's not gonna, you're not gonna make money off of that. So you have help now. You have people that can help you and answer questions, but ask your regional manager. They're gonna have the best answer for you, and it's okay that you're new. Other drivers will help as well. I was new. I didn't know nothing, y'all. I didn't even know what a hand cart was. He said a
Right.
hand cart. I said, what is that? He said a dolly. I said, okay, I know what a
Okay.
dolly is, but I didn't know it was something else. They named it a hand cart. So he took me to the store and brought me one on my first day of work. He said, you got to come prepared. I said, sir, this is my first day. I have no idea what I'm doing. He told me I ride, which he rode me for a couple of hours, kind of showed me how to use the app. And I mean, it was okay. It doesn't make you look bad or anything like that. If you don't know, you really, really need to ask, because you guys, this is very important when you're dealing with medications and specimens that are on ice, and you got to get it there at a certain time. And everything with being a courier is time sensitive, no matter if it's a stat or a route or a service order, everything is time sensitive. So definitely you want to ask questions, and it's okay that you don't know. What's not okay is if you don't ask the question.
Yep. Good point. Good point. So we'll move along. Like I said, I know we still have some questions, guys. Like I said, I promise we'll get to them. But we want to get through this and get to the good stuff, the stuff that you really want to hear about. So next slide, I guess routes. You want to talk about routes, Renee?
Yeah, route and on demand. And everybody, you always gonna hear me talking about stat and on demand. So on demand means an immediate delivery. There can be a 1 hour. Most of them 1 hour, 1 hour. So that is somebody saying, "Hey, I got a patient that just got admitted to this assisted living facility, and she's gonna need all her meds, and she needs her first insulin shot within an hour." So that the facility calls the pharmacy, and the pharmacy would then call the courier to come pick up that stat and take that medication to that facility. So
Okay. And when you say stat, I'm just trying to think like the people out there. What is a stat delivery? What does that mean?
a stat means immediate, like stat, like now, stat,
Right. Okay.
STAT, stat. On demand. So on demand and stat can almost be a little different. So on demand gives you a little bit more flexibility. Stat is immediate, mainly within 1 hour. On demand, you get a little bit more leeway with on demand. So it's maybe 2 to 4 hour time frame. So on demand will be like, I have a medication that needs to be going like maybe 100 miles. You can't do that in an hour, right? It is a stat, but it gives you a little bit more flexibility to get there. Also, some on-demand work can be different companies that have computer parts that need to be delivered. So if a cash register breaks down, then there is UPS will deliver computer parts to these different stores. I mean, I've delivered to 7-Eleven, I've delivered to the movie theater, some are everywhere. When these registers break down, that's considered on demand. It's as needed when it's not like something more like a route, a dedicated route. It's pre-planned and scheduled. So on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, this route is gonna launch at 12, 4, and 8. So that's planned and scheduled. On demand is immediate delivery. or if you in the medical field, PRN as needed. And then so I'm gonna stop there because I get a lot of
Yeah.
questions about
Yeah.
that.
I was just going to say, because so Michelle is asking, do you get these routes? Are you getting them through like a broker, through another company and using your business name, or do you get direct contracts?
So you
I guess it's different setups, right? I mean, you could do both. You could see both setups, but what do you see?
so it so with a route, okay, you're gonna apply, and I think that's on the next screen, to a courier company. Okay, you're gonna apply to. I'm just gonna throw out. You're gonna throw out to US Pack. That's a very well known courier company, right? So US Pack is gonna have an ad on their website saying they need a route driver or they need an independent contract driver. That's mostly what they say, and it's gonna say for for a route. So you're gonna apply. What was her name? Melissa Logistics LLC is going to apply for this route at US Pack. Okay. That route is, like I said, it's going to launch means go out at 12, 4, and 8. So you're going to run that route Monday through Friday at 12, 4, and 8. And it has 3 stops. So you are contracting with US Pack. Your LLC is contracting with US Pack to run Route A Monday through Friday at 12, 4, and 8 p.m. And this route is going to pay you $125. That's what you're going to sign that contract with. That is pre-planned, scheduled delivery on those days. When you get paid, they're going to pay you through Michelle Logistics LLC direct deposit to your banking account. Many companies will not pay your settlements to a personal bank account. It has to be a business bank account. That's why back on a few slides over when I did the business setup, this is why you have to have a business bank account. I onboarded with a company and I gave them the letter. You know how you get the letter to verify you have your account? They did not accept that. I had to give them 3 months of my bank statements. And the bank statement had to have my business name on it for me to get my payment. So that's very important. So hopefully that answered your question about
Yeah.
the okay.
And I'm going to ask a follow up question because I kind of I see where Michelle is going and I like it. So how, most of these routes that you see are going to be set up with, like you said, US Pack. And how do you take it to that next level for my ambitious folks on the webinar? How easy or how difficult is it for Michelle to go out and get that set up with whoever it is, ABC Pharmaceutical? And do you see that?
So instead of going through US Pack, go to the pharmacy.
Right. Well, whoever it is, because obviously US Pack is kind of in the middle. They've got the contract with ABC Pharmaceutical or
So
whoever it is.
how do
Yeah.
you go to the
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
So
yeah. That takes a lot of work. Okay.
okay.
First
Yeah.
of all, you got to have $1 million policy and you have to have a network of drivers, more like 500 drivers when you get in those kind of those we call prime contracts. You got to be in business for a while and have an established business with that $1 million policy. That's kind of what I'm striving for. Now, you can get into government contracts and get that contract. You can even be the middleman with a government contract and get those kind of contracts. I have 2 prime contracts, but it's very small. They're very small companies, and I don't get a lot of work with them. Prime contracts are very hard to get. Like I said, you have to have a network and a whole team of drivers to be able to get that. How do you start that process? Master contracting, and we'll talk about that a little later. But to get those prime contracts is very rigorous, and a lot of them you have to bid on. To go in competition with US Pack, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
That's
That's
a
a lot.
lot. Right.
But here's what you can do. You can, I said this earlier when I said marketing your business to smaller pharmacies within your community, smaller private labs. You can still market your business to, and maybe do some courier work with them. But in order to go against those big pharmacies that are delivering to these assisted living facilities, you really have to have but it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into that with that policy, that $1 million policy, and that network of drivers. It's a lot. It's a lot. But you can, like I said, do and that's what I've been doing. That's what I worked on last week. Actually, I went and found pharmacies and labs in my area, and I started sending emails, like the smaller ones. I started sending emails, marketing, telling them, introducing myself, to my business, how many drivers I have, and the services that I offer. And I'll follow up, I'm gonna follow up and see it. You just have to, you have to get out here and put in the work, right? But it's doable. It's definitely doable to get those prime contracts.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the thing I wanted to convey, because I see Amy and Michelle, they're thinking a lot like me. And I'm sure a lot of people think the same way. They want to eventually cut out the middleman. So it's possible, but like you said, it's just the reality of it is you got to kind of put in the work to get there, because you know that when you get to that level, you're really competing against the big boys. But again, it's possible. And it should be something you strive to. If you're looking at this as not just a side hustle, if this is something where you see yourself, you've got a fleet and you've got people working underneath you, that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something that's possible. I love the way you're thinking, because that's the goal. That's really the goal for all of us, right? We want to have that freedom. We want to work for ourselves, and sometimes even in the independent contractor world, it can still kind of feel like employment. So we want to get freed from that, but it's definitely possible. I've seen folks go out there and get those big, contracts. So it's definitely possible.
So somebody's saying, can I have drivers under my LLC working routes provided by courier companies such as LLC? Absolutely. We'll talk about that a little later. So when you apply online, are you applying for a specific route with the company or any route similar to a full-time employee? We're going to take full-time employee out. We are not full-time employees. That is a word we no longer have in our vocabulary as independent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So routes are so these companies post ads, and then I think in the next screen I'll show you those different job boards. They're gonna post an ad for a route. They're gonna post ads for on-demand work. Like I said, they only put so much out there. All of the details, the time, they don't very seldom do they put the pay. You'll see the details of that route. Now, when you get there, they might say, like when I originally applied, I was only gonna do weekends because I was kind of scared to leave my job. I was only gonna do weekends, and then um I did the weekend because, like I said, I was new to this. When I did the weekend, I said I could do this full time. So I said, "But do you have anything full time available?" She said, "I'm gonna have one in 2 weeks." I said, "I want it," and I took a route. It was Monday through Friday. My lunch time was 10:15, 12:45, and 2:30. I think it was. So it went out 3 times a day. And it pays 150 a day, which was 750 a week. That was what I started at. But I originally, like I said, I had a weekend route. So you get in, you see what's available, or if they have multiple routes, then you can choose from. It just varies. It just varies, or they'll post an ad for one particular route that they need coverage for.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. I get that question a lot. Some people say, "Hey, I drop my son off, my daughter off, at 7:30 at daycare. Is it possible to do something in between, the middle of the day before I have to pick her up, or I want to do something early and be done by 9 o'clock, and all those are possible. Like I said, when you look at the job boards, when you see what's posted, I hate to say job boards, because job sounds W-2, and I know and I know everybody on this webinar is like me. I don't want a W-2. I don't want to work for somebody else, but not necessarily the job boards, but the postings for these routes. You'll see sometimes they'll post the time. Sometimes you just have to inquire, but you really can carve out, like Renee said, you can carve out sort of your own schedule. You can work. I've seen people, they say, "Hey man, I do something from 3:30 a.m. to, it's a route, and I'm usually done by 6 a.m. and then I'm done for the day. And that's all I do." And on the other side, I've seen people who go out 4:30 in the morning and don't, finish till 4 in the afternoon. So you kind of have some autonomy of how much or how little you want to work. That's the whole point of having your own business, being an independent contractor. You can really carve out what it is that you want to do.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So one way to save on gas and make sure you're not, running around the city wasting gas is to get a route optimization app. There's plenty of them out there, but Circuit is one of the most the one I like. But they're, like I said, they're really there's a lot of them out there. So when you have a route that has multiple stops, you want to go either further out or back in or closer to you and back out. Be careful with that because routes have times. Everything has a time, and those times for those routes, and especially if it's going to these assisted living facilities or the rehabs or hospitals and stuff like that, they're timed by how that medication is distributed. So sometimes you can't change up the order of the route, but you can always ask. But in the event, especially if you're doing stats and you might have two or three, then you definitely can optimize those addresses, and it'll help you so you're not doing a lot of unnecessary driving. So let's talk about route negotiation, right? How can we negotiate routes? How can you get more money for a route? Okay. One way you can do is to do a route evaluation. So when I get a route, I ask if because I never feel like they pay good enough anyway. So I ask, when was the last time this route had a route evaluation? Meaning, when was the last time y'all looked at this route to see is the pay worth what the route is paying, what you're offering? One thing here in Florida is construction. Construction is enormous. So a route that may have taken 2 hours may now take 3 hours because of construction. But it's still paying based on the 2 hour time frame. So ask for a route evaluation and see what can be done differently with that route to get you some more money. And construction is a big deal with requesting for a route evaluation. If it had not been evaluated and within the last 6 months, I asked. It don't hurt to ask. They either gonna say yes or no. Another way to negotiate is tolls. And I shared this in my group chat last night. I did an order last night. And the first time I went, it was far away. And like I said, I only got an hour to get there. So I jumped on the toll road at my expense, came back. As soon as I got back, they asked, I had two more orders going back to that address. I told them I didn't want to do it because I had to get on the tolls. And I said, it's far, for what they was paying. I said, that was far. So he said, well, if you go back, we reimburse you for the tolls when you go back? I said, yeah, but I want to bump and pay. I need, $7 more at least for each order because it was a little further than what I normally like to do, and it was late. So if you want to get more money, ask if you can be reimbursed for those tolls. That's if you're on the place with toll roads. Another one is stops per location. So if you go to Lily Rehab, and Lily Rehab has 3 nursing stations, that contract is going to pay the pharmacy is going to pay that courier company for each stop at Lily's rehab. So there's what you call a base pay. So that base pay is the first stop, the rehab center in itself, and then you got nursing station A, nursing station B, nursing station C. That driver is only getting paid for that base pay of going. The courier company is getting paid for going to nursing station A, B, and C. Y'all don't know that as a driver, but I do. So ask if you got more than one stop at that location. Ask, are you getting paid per stop? And ask them. If not, can you? It don't hurt to ask. You guys have to ask, negotiate. If they say no, then ask if you can do it for maybe another building and not all of them. You just have to it's called negotiate, right? You have to go back and forth and see until keep asking. I did a route evaluation and got paid for it, and I got my money back on tolls. Stops per location, I haven't been successful at that yet, but I still ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Renee, I just want to kind of paint the picture for people that are kind of not necessarily visual, but like me, but they just want to know, kind of get a picture painted. So at what point does this negotiation happen? So I go out to the website. I see what's out there. Oh, I see US Pack has something. Where does the negotiation happen? So I apply. US Pack gets me set up. How does that look? How does the negotiation look? Where in the process does that
Okay.
happen? Do
So
they
you
send you an
apply.
email saying yes, you got the route? And then you do they call? What does that look like?
So that you apply, okay? And I'm gonna call them and say, hey, how often I see you applied for Route A? Yeah, I did. Okay, we'll go ahead and I have some questions. They a lot of times they're gonna let you know what it is before they onboard you, right? So say I have Route A, Alton. Route A has 4 stops. It's 210 miles round trip. Okay. Be careful when they say round trip because most companies don't pay round trip. Most companies are only gonna pay for loaded miles, meaning the miles that you pick up and drop off at the facility. So coming back home, you don't get paid. So they're gonna tell you round trip. That's to throw you off. You got to think smarter than that. You're gonna ask them what is the one way. Am I getting paid round trip or am I getting paid loaded? Okay. So they're gonna say, well, Route A often has 4 stops, 210 round trip miles. And it goes out every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 12 p.m. Would that be something you would be interested in? So you're going to say, well, what's the round trip miles? Am I getting paid round trip or loaded? Oh, it's just loaded, but what's the total round trip miles? Because here again, you don't get paid to come back home. So that's cutting into your profit. So, okay, so we'll just say 50 miles. I'm just throwing out numbers, y'all. It's not going to make sense numberly because I'm just throwing these out. Okay, so it's 50 loaded miles. 50 loaded miles. Okay. And what was the time? It's 12 p.m. Okay. So it's going from here. I don't know. I don't know where y'all at. So we'll just say it's going from here from it's going to go somewhere where there's going to be a lot of traffic. We're just saying Houston. You got to get on the interstate. It's going to be traffic. Okay. Now it goes out at 12. The next launch time is at 3. So you really got 2.5 hours to do that route because that next route goes out at 3. So guess what they need back? They need back those totes that you got. That's why you have to bring them back to the facility. So you're going to say, I would love to do that, but going out at 12 o'clock, that's going to be a lot of lunch hour traffic. Is it a way maybe I could bump it up to what I said, 120? Is it maybe I could get it to 135? Well, no, routes are kind of pretty much set. They're flat fees, they kind of set. Okay, when was the last time was it evaluated? Because with all the new construction in the traffic, when was the last time the route was evaluated? Well, it's a new route. He was like, okay, well, I'll run it. I'll run it and see how it is with gas mileage and everything like that, and just kind of see if it's something that I'll be interested in. But I definitely give it a try. You give it a try, you don't like it. You don't like it. You go back to your manager. Just seems like to be a lot of gas, a lot of traffic. Took me a little longer. I was late a few times. And that's how you negotiate. That's how you talk your way through it. But that negotiation starts when they call you and say, we got your application, this is what the route entails, how many miles and all of that. And then that's when you start negotiating. If you don't like the price, if you don't feel like it's going to be what you want it to be, then you dig and you ask those questions. Being new, you're not going to know what all the questions are. If it's something that they offer, don't say no. Always try it. Run it for a week and see if it's something that you would want to do. If not, don't just walk away. Say it's not what I expected. Maybe if you get something with a little bit more pay or less traffic in another area. But in the meantime, can I do some on demand or some stats until another route comes or until a day route comes if they're trying to offer you a night route? Don't just leave. Because if you're onboarding with a company like US Pack, they have multiple accounts. They do auto parts, they do pharmacy and script, they do medical supplies, and they also do lab. So once you get in and you get a driver number and you run Route A often and you don't like Route A, you say, well, can I just do stats and then maybe another route may come available? You say, yeah, they'll let you do stats. And then you call back and you say, I love doing stats. I need to make a little bit more money. Do you have any contact number for the account for the lab? Because you got a driver number. All you need is a contact person, and you can do the lab and the pharmacy. So don't just say, I don't know, it didn't work. It didn't work for me. It just took too long. Okay, go back, communicate why it didn't work for you. And then here again, they might say, well, we can bump it up, we'll bump it up maybe $5 or $10 more, or you can continue to do stats. And then if something comes up more of your price range, and that's how you get that negotiation. But don't just stop there. Keep going. Try to get maybe on another account. You got a driver number. That driver number is going to work no matter where US Pack is going to be. And they have multiple accounts with US Pack.
Got it. Okay. And that kind of answers Erica's question because she was asking, let's say you take a route, you don't like it. What do you do if you decide you don't want it? But I think you answered that. You're not an employee, so you don't have to do anything. You're in control, so you can decide that, hey, this route's not for me. Takes me too far away from home. Like you said, it's not round trip. I'm deadheading back a lot. So you have that autonomy. You can take what you want, but you want to be, like you said, because when you work with some of these bigger companies, you want to be professional, and because once you're in the system, you don't want to kind of mess up and tarnish your name, because you never know what could be available in the future. But yeah, absolutely, you can decide that you don't want that route because you're not an employee.
I onboarded with a company and they had a route at 2 a.m. And I really wanted to get on with this company because it would put me in a position to be a master contractor. So I took the route 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning. So that means my weekends was never going to be fun. I ran that route for about 4 months. And I was just hoping that I took the route to get my foot in the door. And I was hoping that, because he said you could take the route, but if a day route becomes available, you get it first. Well, the day route became available, but it conflicted with another route that I was running. So I still had to take the route. And then by November, I said, I'm not going to do this route no more. So what I said, hey, I was hoping that a day route would become available a lot sooner. I love the route, but it's weighing on me. To getting up like that, it's weighing on me. He said, I understand. I never, when I was not able to come to work because I might have went out of town, I communicated 2 weeks so he would have to be able to have coverage, right? So he said, well, I said, I don't want to run the route anymore, but I would love to stay to do stats. He said, I could do that for you, Renee. I said, okay. Then I said, I did stats. I still do stats. So I came back. I said, so he called for a day route, but at this point, I've decided I don't do routes, period. I only do on demand. I said, well, I kind of changed the structure of my business, which I did, and I don't do routes, but I would love to contract it out. So that's what we did. So I ran it. I didn't like it. I communicated it, gave him enough time to get a driver. I trained the driver, went and did stats, and now I contracted the route out. So it puts you in position to do a little bit more. That's what I said. Don't just walk away. Communicate. You never know what doors are open for you in that aspect.
That's right. That's right. David is asking, when you apply, how long did they take to contact you? Is it right away? If it's your first time contacting them? I know you talk about that a lot, Renee. You say, hey, look, if you think you're just going to apply across the board and just sit back and wait, you got to follow up. You got to be professional. You have to, some of them will call you, because that's been my experience and I haven't done it to the level you've done it, Renee, but some of them, you get in there and it might be next day, 24, 48 hours, you get a call or an email, asking you to kind of fill out some information to get onboarded. But some won't. So you have to really follow up to kind of separate yourself.
From my experience, and this has been a big discussion in my group chat, a lot of times these ads that are out there on the courier boards, not the job, but we call them courier boards, are automated, what do they call it? Auto-generated ads. So the company not even really hiring. So you're just applying. Nobody's getting it but the system, the internet, cyberspace somewhere. That could be one reason. Another one, what I have seen with a lot of companies, is compliance is so slow. Compliance is a nightmare with some companies because they're short staffed. And you got all of these people that are trying to onboard, and you got two people that has to do the background check, that has to send the forms for the drug screening. So sometimes compliance can be an issue. But here's what I tell people: you got to be in their face. You got to call, follow up, and show up until they hire you. I told one guy, I said, I'm going to keep calling till you hire me. And after 4 months, I got a contract. But I called, I went up there, I smiled. I said, just checking in. He said, nothing yet, Renee. I said, okay. But when that position became available, guess who he called? Because I was in his face. One young lady in my group chat lives in Birmingham. She has not been able to find a lot of work, right? She went on LinkedIn, found the CEO of the company on LinkedIn, and emailed him. She said she had been applying for 4 weeks. She hadn't heard anything. She told him she was HIPAA certified, what kind of car she had. She was really interested in doing some route work. He put her in contact with the right person, I guess, to get her paperwork done. And a week later, she was working. She emailed the CEO. You got to be in their face. You got to keep applying. If the company is local, put your business shirt on. You see, I got my shirt. This my Courier chick, but I got shirts with my business, my Castile Transport. Put your shirt on, get you some business card with your virtual address and your 800 number, what services you offer. Go introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Renee. I'm a HIPAA compliant independent contractor. I have a 2019 Chevrolet Equinox. And I was here. I saw an ad on Indeed for a route driver. What do you have available? I would love to start tomorrow. And that's telling them who you are, what certifications you have. So that lets them know you're legitimized. They know that you can follow the state protocol for delivering those medical supplies and the type of vehicle you have. Well, we don't have anything right now, Renee. Okay, I'll check back in 2 weeks. You let them know when you're coming back. You don't wait on them to tell you. Let them know. Leave your information. Can I get a contact name for the hiring manager? You get a contact name and an email, and then guess what you start doing? Emailing. And you're going to keep doing it, and you're going to keep doing it until you get a call back. Onboarding can be one day. Onboarding can be a couple of weeks. It just depends on the company. The contract, as independent contractors, we don't have control over that. We submit our application. We make sure that we have met all the requirements when we submit our application, and in 2 days we follow up, and you just keep following up.
Okay. Yeah. So you kind of touched on contracting a route out. I got a couple questions about that. Can you kind of talk more about that? What do you mean by it? And just kind of go into that.
Okay, so y'all done got to your bonus before it came. So it's called master contracting. Okay, and I did a video, and I said, this is how you make money while you sleep. Right? Master contracting, right? A master contractor is a self-employed person or entity contracted to perform work or provide services to another entity as a non-employee that has a minimum of 3 vehicles. So what a master contractor is going to do, you're an independent contractor, right? A master contractor is an independent contractor, and what they do, they have the contract with US PAC. I'm just using US PAC. They have a contract with US PAC, and what they do is they say, I want to go in and I want to be a master contractor, and I have 3 drivers. Okay, you have 3 drivers. So what you do, what your strategy is to get work that is hard for US PAC to cover. So it could be night routes. It could be a route that's further out, or a route that has very low mileage. So what you do is I'm gonna hire Alton to run Route A for me. So Alton and Renee's company, the Castile Transport, is going to have an agreement. The contract is going to be between Castile Transport and Alton. Renee has a contract with US PAC and Castile Transport. So it's just like you buy a house and you want to get it painted. It's 6 rooms in a house. You're going to hire a contractor to paint the house. Well, a contractor might hire a subcontractor. You're going to do the upstairs, your subcontractor is going to do the downstairs. That subcontractor has no communication with the homeowner. It's the contractor and the subcontractor is where the communication comes. So you're responsible for their training and their pay, and all communication is done through them. So US Pack is going to pay me $500 a week for that route. How much am I going to pay Alton? It got to be worth his while. I can't pay him $300 to run a route 6 days, 5 days a week, you know, 200 miles a day. So what I do is I'm going to charge him an opportunity, you can call it whatever kind of fee you want, of maybe $25 to $50 a week. I would say you got to be careful now because it got to be worth his while. Where you make your money as a master contractor is, and we talked about this earlier, the more drivers you have, the more money you make as a master contractor. What you don't want is for that contractor to know how much you get paid for that route. That's what you don't want. Because if they figure I can get the full 500 and not the 475, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to quit working with you and go get a contract. You're going to sign a non-compete. So Castile Transport is going to have Alton sign a non-compete agreement where he can't go back and get a contract with that company for 2 years. So he may quit, but he won't be able to go get his own contract. Any communication that Alton has with US Pack will come through Castile Transport. I am the one that has a contract with Alton. You are responsible for them. For its pay, training, and any of the work that they get. So they'll say, Renee, we got some work. We got a route. A driver called out. Could you cover Route B for me? Yeah, I'm gonna call Alton. Alton, can you cover Route B? What is Alton gonna ask me? What's the pay? How many miles? What time? So if I'm getting paid 125, what I do is we settle everything at the end of the week. So where is I'm getting 125, I'm gonna add that 125 that Alton was getting for the 500, and we're gonna take out one fee at the end of the week. You can pay weekly, bi-weekly, however you want to pay. How you pay them, that's also up to you because you are the independent contractor. This is your business entity, and Alton has a business entity. For me, for a paper trail, I don't want to go through a payroll company. I only currently have 2 drivers. I have them invoice me and I pay their invoice with my business bank account. Every Thursday they invoice me and I satisfy their invoice on Friday. And I charge my drivers $25 a week. But my drivers are part-time, they're not really getting paid. I don't really have a lot of routes. I'm really doing coverage, backup coverage. So sometimes they don't even work. But
so how can I'm just thinking like the Michelles out there, and people like myself, if how do I get set up to do that master contract? What are some things? So I get out there, I'm hearing all this, I get out there individually. What can I be doing to set myself up so that I could be in position for that? Do I need to have multiple vehicles? Do I need to just start hiring people? What can I do to put myself in position?
Have an LLC.
Yep.
Okay. You decide, are they going to drive their own vehicle or are they going to drive your vehicle? If they're going to drive your vehicle, you got to have vehicles for that. You got to have insurance. You got to have gas. Who's going to do the gas? I didn't want to go to that extreme because now you got to deal with workers' comp and all of that. I have my drivers. They're independent contractors. I'm still an independent contractor. So how do you become a master contractor? It was the same way how I explained my situation that I had with this company. I said, hey, you have opportunity for master contractors? Yes, we do. Then you sign a contract with the company. You just ask, do you have opportunity for, it's nothing, you don't have to go take no test. It's nothing different that you do, but sign a different contract. So when Alton gets a contract, the contract is coming from US Pack, but it's between Castile Transport and Alton. There's nothing special you got to say. You just ask as an opportunity to be a master contractor. And then you have Alton and, Castile Transport and Alton, they sign an agreement. My agreements are a little different because although it's coming from US Pack, I have another agreement that I have, and it's like, okay, you're gonna run this route. This is what your pay is gonna be. You know, you got to submit your invoice. Training is this. I do make them go get the HIPAA certification because that is gonna be required. Um, you have to. So some companies do require for you to wear their shirt. If not, then I do require them to wear my shirt. And one girl wears one of my shirts. All of that is you structure that part of the business how you want it to be. Your main thing is to get those contracts. You want to get
Yeah.
contracts. You want to get routes, even if it's stats. The more you get, then you can sub that out to your drivers. And many companies offer it. You just have to ask. I don't really see them advertise it, but there are a lot of contracts that do allow for a master contracting. I just signed a contract, and I didn't even know. I just was reading the contract, and they allowed for a master contract, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So, it was in the contract. Now they didn't say nothing about it during onboarding, but it was in the contract that they
It was
did offer it.
it was in there. Yeah. So Rashida's asking, uh, so as far as the responsibility for the drivers that you hire, do they have to have the same requirements that you had to have that we talked about a few slides ago, like background checks and like the credentials as far as the certifications? Do they have to have all that stuff too?
Nothing is different. The only thing is you're working under my company. You have to that company is going to require that subcontractor to meet all the same requirements that you did. Now, technically, they're still contracted with that company. Like I said, the contract is from US. The original it comes from US Pack with my name going to you. So it's like a three-party contract. I'm responsible. I have to train you. I all the communication. When dispatch calls and say, "Hey, I got a route, I got a stat," they're not gonna call you. They're gonna call me and say, "I got a stat," and I'd be like, "Okay, either I'm gonna do it or I get a driver to do it," and then I give the driver number so that they can send the order to that driver's phone. Um, so that driver is gonna have to meet all the same requirements as a regular independent contractor.
Gotcha. No, it's no different then. It looks no different.
No
Um,
different. Car requirements, everything. Yes.
okay. Someone's asking how you find drivers. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's probably the tough part. Yeah, like they say, like they always say, it's hard to find good help. But it depends on how professional you want you want to set yourself up. I mean, you can do Indeed posts, you can do word of mouth, any mode or method that's out there to find drivers. It's really up to you. Renee, what have you seen? How do you find your drivers?
Um, for people honestly that have reached out to me on some of the social media, one girl said she lived here. She rode with me one day, and I asked her, if she thought it would be something she would want to do, and she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I have a small route if it's something you want to start with," and she been rolling with me since. I met her on TikTok. The other girl is a friend. I don't have friends and I don't have family, y'all. This is not the first business that I've had. I managed two medical clinics in Kentucky. I've had up to over 125 employees, five van drivers picking up my patients. I don't do number family members. We don't get along when it comes to business. So
Yeah,
I have people I don't know.
right. I'm with you on that
The,
one.
the expectation is different. And y'all, if I'm out of town and my cousin's supposed to run this route and she come out her baby was sick and I don't have nobody to cover that route, some companies will charge you 30% to cover that route. Some companies will
Mm.
charge you a percentage, and so that's my money. So I'll stop dealing with friends and family. There are, if you go back to one of those slides, I can't remember which one. There are networks you can join, and they have where you can hire. They have drivers where you can go through a list of drivers and pick out drivers, and you can do virtual interviews or however you want to do it. But there are networks that you can hire drivers. Craigslist is another one. Post ads on Indeed. If you know somebody that has an LLC and you want to hire them, you can. But here's the thing: the strategy of being a master contractor is that driver just cannot know what that route pays. So you're going to keep that driver away from the other drivers because, like another driver like me, I get in. What route you? How much you get paid for your? Well, any other companies you work with? I talk. I talk and I ask questions. So you got to be very careful that that driver does not get exposed to what those routes pay, because they're not going to want to run that route when they feel like they can go get the money, that get the contract. But that's why you sign a non-compete. So for route navigation, we compare offers, being flexible. Those some of the other ways to being able to negotiate routes. What's on the next slide? Let me see.
Let's see here.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's kind of frozen up. Hang on one second.
Oh.
Maybe we'll take a few questions while I figure that it froze up on me. Let's see. What background company do you use? Do you have a background company?
I make them sign, so they have a paper and I make them do their own background. That's them. They have to find their own background check. But here again, it's one of the companies that they do all of that through the background, the drug screen. All of that is done through you. I'm just using US Pack again, y'all. It's done. They do all of that. They do the background, all the compliance part of it. They do that. All you do is I go back and have my own. I have a whole courier packet for drivers for master contracting. That they have is all of their information, their vehicle that I have on file for my compliance, for my business structure. But all of that, the company, US Pack will cover that. Now they might still have to pay for the background, but they'll do the background check. They'll do the MBR. They'll do the drug screen. They'll be the one that do all of that. But I have my own forms, in case not, that the driver would be responsible for getting that done. Okay, supplies, equipment, and essentials. We got just a little ahead, but it's okay. This is very important, y'all, when you're starting. This is what it's kind of be like what you need when you get started. Like I said, that hand truck, definitely number one on the list was that hand truck, okay? You want to be sure you keep some hand sanitizer, a puncture-proof cooler, very important when you're delivering any kind of lab specimens. Also with an ice pack, keep an ice pack in it as well. Sometimes you may have to have some dry ice. I've never had a contract that I needed it, but be sure you have a puncture-proof cooler in your car. You can get them from Walmart for like $14.88. Vinyl gloves as well as work gloves. Sometimes you're dealing with heavier boxes or parts or something like that. And they're dusty, so definitely have vinyl and work gloves. A flashlight. I have a regular flashlight, and I also wear the headlamp at night when I'm delivering for addresses and apartments. Even when I'm driving down the street and I can't see the addresses, I turn my headlamp on. It's very bright, so definitely keep a flashlight. Have your own pens. A lot of times you're going to these medical facilities and nurses, you have to get nurses to sign your manifest, which is your paperwork. Have your own pen. A calendar. I have a calendar. This is not my work calendar. This is my personal calendar. I keep a calendar in my car and I write down my routes, how much you pay, and the mileage. So when I get paid, I can compare what I have versus what they have. And I write it in pencil in case anything changes. And then I can't see the last one because the screen is there. What was that last one?
It's a clipboard storage.
Clipboard storage.
Yeah.
Yes. You definitely need that to keep any and all of your paperwork dealing with your like your manifest. Your manifest is basically a printout of your load. So it's gonna have two, it's gonna have your pickup and drop off information. So sometimes patient date of birth, address, phone numbers, names, medical record number are gonna be on that manifest. So you have to get them signed and take them back to the facility. Well, sometimes you don't go back on the same night. So you can't just leave that paperwork on the car. A company can get fined $25,000 for a breach of patient information. So you want to be sure that you have a clipboard that has a storage to keep all of your manifests in. Something that I made a post about it today is a spill kit that is very important to have in your car. You can get it off of Amazon for under $15, and that's in case you have any kind of spills in your car. whether it be lab or any kind. Sometimes when I was doing my animal lab specimen pickup, and you're dealing with sometimes they were doing biopsy, so they might cut like a mole out for it to go to the lab to get tested for cancer. Where it has to be in a solution to keep it, preserved for the time that it travels to the lab. So a lot of times the vets wasn't um screwing the cap on tight, and they was leaking out. The solution was leaking out into the coolers. So you want to be sure that you have the proper gloves and the spill kit cloths and stuff like that to be able to clean up that solution that spills. So in my puncture proof cooler, I'll also keep a plastic bag in there. And then when I'm putting any kind of lab specimen, it's already in the bag. So it kind of gives you another layer of protection. But definitely, if you want to be compliant with OSHA, keep a spill kit in your car. So I didn't add that. I need to add that to my list as well. Any questions on supplies? Of course, there's more. There's more. I got sunscreen. I got a hat for the Florida sun. There's a lot of more, but these
hand sanitizer. Well, you said hand sanitizer, but you got all that stuff in there.
Yeah. I have 3 carts. I have 3 carts and a wagon. So it's just as you get more contracts, you'll see what kind of supplies and stuff like that you'll need. Remember, you don't want to keep a lot of stuff in your car because you need as much space in your car for your loads as possible. So try to keep that minimum. What's a hand truck? A dolly. It's a dolly.
That's what they call them in Alabama, right down there. But yeah, it's just a dolly, something that you can load totes on, or whatever you might be carrying. That's a little harder to just carry in your hands. Put on the dolly. You've seen it where you step on it, tilt it. Some of them have it where you can change it, put it flat with 4 wheels, and put the handle on it. But that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, apps and websites for contracts. So we was talking about like job boards. So we call them courier boards. CB driver, top of the list, y'all. Screenshot this slide. This is going to be your lifeline to getting contracts. Okay, CB driver is the most effective way to get a contract. Their response time is very fast. You can apply, and in a few days, companies contact you. You create a free profile on cbdriver.com. They're going to email you jobs that come up based on your area. Okay, based on your profile, how you complete your profile, it's gonna ask like your vehicle type, your zip code. I think it has your address, your name of your business. It has like a profile you create. So when you apply, those companies are gonna see what your profile is. I got my first 2 contracts off of CB driver. Another one is couriergigs.com. They post all of the available medical courier positions. Great website for finding courier contracts. And then medical courier, courier board. You want to get into government contracting, you're going to do the sam.gov. You can find contracts on Craigslist. Courier Express is a company that posts a lot of ads on Craigslist. But just be careful with Craigslist. If it's a company that you're not familiar with, don't send them no information. Definitely don't send no banking information. Just do some research on the internet and see if this is a reputable company. Indeed, Google, Simply Hired is another one, and eBay. I put eBay because you can contact shippers on eBay and deliver their goods. Okay, Simply Hired is kind of like Glassdoor or something like that. You want to search keywords when you're on, like, what is it, Simply Hired and Indeed. So I had a list. I made a post about it. Keywords: courier, medical courier, independent contractor, 1099 driver, contract delivery drivers. Play around with those keywords and see what comes up. Don't just go on there and put independent contractor on there. There's multiple different words and phrases that you can use to try to find those contracts. And then let's talk about the networks. This is where you can go and find drivers, Courier Marketplace, OneRail. OneRail is really good for telling you and getting you set up for getting those prime contracts. 1099 driver is another one. And I can't see the rest of the screen.
E-Track Technologies.
Yeah, CLDA, Express Carrier Association, and you can get memberships with some of these. Some of them are a little expensive, but I recommend and suggest you get at least 1 to 2 memberships. Some of them are under $100. Get in there. They have a lot of training opportunities. They have conferences you can go to. And you, for the most part, you can also find contracts. So at least get memberships at least 1 or 2 of the networks. Go look on them, explore the website, see what they have to offer, see what the trainings are, and just explore. This is another resource for you. Okay.
So let's see here.
Standard service charges. All right, let's talk about how do you charge and what to charge. Okay, standard service charges are rate could be rate per mile, so you can charge by mileage. You can charge a base rate, like, so I was saying, Alton is going to run route A and it's paying 125. That's a base rate. Or you can charge per stop. You can get charged per stop. So if a route has I did a chemo route, I was getting paid a base route, a base rate, and then I got paid $6 per stop. That's when it gets real good, right? But those are different standard charges. How much are you gonna? Okay, so the standard service charges or could be for master contract. And if you get a call and say, hey, can you go pick up a TV from Lowe's because they saw your website, right? What are you going to charge? Are you going to contract that and get your subcontractor to go pick it up, or are you going to pick it up? How are you going to charge, and what are you going to charge? That's where this comes in. So you determine that. You're the independent contractor. It's your business. What if you're going to charge per mile? The average per mile minimum is 132 per mile, city miles.
Say that again. You said it was, what was that? 130?
$1.32 per mile minimum is what you want to charge. Somebody wants you to go pick up a TV, you're going to charge a base rate, and then you're going to charge 132 per mile. That's just how I would do it. It's your business. You structure it. You charge what you want. You can just charge, if it's 6 miles. I charge you $30 or whatever. But if you're gonna do per mile, you want to do a minimum of $1.32 per mile. How do you come up with those numbers? You get online and you do a quote to another company and see what they charge.
Yeah. So say that. So how does that work? So you go out and, just like you said, just act as
if
if
you're a company in your area and you submit a quote for whatever services that is and what they charge. You could go higher or lower, it's up to you. But that's how you find out what to charge, basically. Okay.
All right. Let's see if we got any questions here on this slide here. No, we'll just go ahead and go on. Questions to ask dispatch.
Love this question. This is how I became real good friends with dispatch. They would tell me, Renee, you are some kind of different.
Oh, well, first, let's do this for people. I don't want to assume that everybody kind of knows what's going on. What is a dispatcher, and what is their role in this whole ecosystem? Who are they?
Oh my! After we gotta do some more partnerships. I love your questions.
I'm trying. I can hear the Michelle's out there, and I look. I'm asking the questions. I know because I may know the answer, but I know some people out there want to know. It's like, what is it? What is it? I've heard of a dispatcher, but who are they? Why would I be working with a dispatcher?
So the dispatchers are the person that you communicate, and they're the ones that's gonna call you and say, "Hey, I got a route, or I got a stat, or can you cover this?" What is your ETA to this location? If you have trouble, I don't have a gate code. It's a gate. I don't see it in my notes. You're gonna call dispatch. They are your lifeline to the company. They are your communicators. So in dispatch, I get their cell phone number. Dispatch are your friend. You got to be friends with the dispatch. Dispatch determines how much money you're gonna make. You want to get in real good friends with dispatch. A lot of times, if it's I went last week somewhere. It was dark. I called dispatch. I said, "Hey, either somebody got to turn the light on, or we're gonna have to do this in the daytime because I'm scared." And she said, "Hold on, Miss Renee, let me call." She called the patient and her husband came out. So they're going to be the ones you call if you have any kind of issues with your route, and they're going to be also the ones that are going to call. That's who you communicate with, and that's who the courier company or the pharmacy is going to communicate to. So the dispatch is the middle person for communication.
Right. So it sounds like the dispatcher is a pretty powerful person.
Very powerful.
In the sense that they can call Renee or Alton without even calling anybody else. They have that sort of power to give you something, not give you something, keep you in mind when they got something coming, let you know something's coming. They've got that power. So that's what I was trying to get at. So the dispatcher is the person that represents the company, but their responsibility is to logistically get things from A to B and make sure that it gets there. So they're very powerful. So if you're looking to build relationships, dispatchers are great people to build relationships with. Because in my experience, when I was in the trucking industry and I was doing, some of the medical contracting, dispatchers are powerful. Those are the people that can give you some stuff. They can give you kind of some inside scoop. Hey, you might want to negotiate this because I'm just telling you there's a little bit of room.
Yeah.
I got you. So when you're looking to build relationships, those are people that you can kind of seek out. Make sure that you maybe send them something for Thanksgiving or Christmas, whether it be an e-card or whatever. Those are the people that are real powerful.
They are very powerful. And when I get in, I'm real big on building relationships. That building relationships in this industry is going to be one of the keys to success. And I get on with a company, the first thing I want to know, do dispatch got a cell phone number?
Right.
And I get up and I show you guys. I text, "Good morning, beautiful. Let me help you clear your board. I need $200 today." That's my text every day. I came off from working early today to get prepared for the webinar. I'm gonna get up in the morning and I'm be like, "I need $300 today." And what they do, they say, "Renee, I got a stat for you." I said, "I got it. I got a stat. I got it." And then midway through the day, she said, "Where you at?" I said, "I need $75 more." She said, "I got you." And she helped me. When I went to Dubai, I let every dispatcher I was contracted with say, "Hey, I'm going to Dubai. I need some extra money. I need 1,200 this week. I need this week." And they helped me get there. And then they'll call 1 o'clock in the morning. I got a stat going to Lakeland. Like Lakeland, y'all, is an hour and 20 minutes away. Can you do it for me? I get up and sleep. I get me some noodles and I do it. Why? Why do I do it? Because when I need them, they come through. It's a very good business relationship. And when they got a driver that they can count on, that's trustworthy, reliable, and dependable, they're gonna make sure you work. They're gonna make sure that you get work. And they'll tell you. I got one to say, "Renee, we got some more contracts," because it was slow at one time. I said, "I had to go get me some more work." She said, "Hang in there, we got 2 more contracts coming." In the next month, them 2 contracts came, and she was like, "You want morning or night?" And I was just like, yes, yes. So dispatch is gonna, if they don't like you, if you calling in, or if you late, or messed up a lot of stuff, they put you at the bottom of the list. They're gonna put you at the bottom of the list. Christmas time came, everybody got the what is it when you do the on Apple, you can send through the text.
The Apple Pay.
Yeah. Lunch on me.
Yeah.
I appreciated them because they got me through to the end of the year. I'm a slow week. They say it's if I text and be like, Hey, beautiful, good morning. I'm available. I always say, let me help you clear your board because that is the goal for dispatchers to keep them boards clear. And
Yeah.
it's slow today. And I said, okay. And I text them like, I'm gonna to Walmart. I'll be back in about an hour. And then they'll text and say, we busy, you back? Like it's a good working communication relationship. Communication is key. When you need something, tell them. I need $500 this week. I need this.
Yeah.
I tell them. So when dispatch calls, you're gonna want to know what is the pickup and drop off location and time. Now, if they don't give the information to you, and a lot of times they will, then these are the questions that you're gonna ask. You want to verify pick up and drop off location and time. Okay. Also, what is the total round trip miles? You always want to know round trip miles because that's how you're gonna determine your profit. What is my delivery time frame? They're gonna say, I got a stack going to Lakeland. What's your ETA to pick up? Normally you have 30 to 45 minutes to pick up. And then I'll be there in about 20 minutes. Okay. What time do I need to have it there? And then they'll tell you what time, okay? And you're asking that because you want to make sure that you're gonna meet the requested schedule. And if you're saying, well, I ain't gonna be able to get there for another 30 minutes, and then that's cutting into, maybe it's giving you only a 10 or 15-minute leeway for delivery, communicate that. Say, well, I can get there, but it's gonna take me, with traffic, maybe 20 minutes instead of 15 or 10 minutes. So that means I might be a few minutes late for drop off. Is that okay? Communicate, communicate, communicate. And then they say, yeah, just keep me posted on your ETA. And then you wanna know what am I delivering? What's my load details? When it's not pharmacy, and you're doing auto parts or something like that, they'll tell you what it is. And what's the weight? How much is it? You want to know what it is that you're delivering if this is not provided. And then contact information. Is there anybody I need to contact before I go? Do I need to call and give somebody an ETA? What if I have an issue? Who do I need to call? Last but not least, pay. What is this paying? A lot of times they're gonna say, I got a stack going to Lakeland. It's paying $75. It's a total of 88 miles. Can you do it? And then you work around your questions from there. Additional services, do I need a signature? Is there a gate code? Y'all don't be like Renee when I started. I was new and I didn't know to ask for a gate code.
So you getting there in the dark, you calling around, I need to get in, let me in.
I was out there at 1 o'clock in the morning for an hour trying to get them people to wake up to give me the gate code. So that y'all, this webinar and these slides is based on personal experience. The curious personal experience. I tried to give y'all as much as I could. Okay. And then any kind of special instructions. Do I need to knock? Is there a signature required? Is it the front door? Is it the back door? Is the nurse's station on the north or the south? Is those kind of special instructions that you need to have? Is it time sensitive? Is it any kind of confidential materials, restricted assets that I need to go to? So those kind of additional questions that you would need to ask.
Okay.
Okay. Be prepared, y'all. You see, people, you can make 2,500, you can do this. Yeah, you can. It's doable. But I want you to look at the other side of the business on things that can happen that I want you to be prepared for as a courier. Intense competition. Why don't I get callbacks? I applied, but they didn't have anything available. I'm not saying that all the markets are saturated, but it's a high demand for medical courier. A lot of people are getting into the business. So there's competition. How do you stand out from the competition? Legitimize your business. Legitimize your business. Get an LLC. Okay. Make sure that you have all your certifications. If you can get the chemo certification is $99. It's not required. But if you can afford it, get it. It goes on your resume. It's just like another nursing certification. It's like, a certification that you can include to give you some more validity for the position that you're applying for. Be prepared for that competition. Legitimize your business. Get your certifications. If you have a resume with a cover letter. and keep your get your marketing and your branding done. Keep your business cards, that kind of stuff. Fuel cost fluctuations. Yeah, I remember a couple of weeks ago, right around Christmas time, gas, I was paying like 275. But my gas budget, I budget my gas mileage at 320, $3.20. So when gas is cheaper than the 320, I take that extra money and I put it in a gas pool. So if I have a slow week or I need some extra money, I'm not so stressed out about gas. I don't have any business debt. I didn't want to do any gas cards and stuff. That was like a choice that I made. So everything with me is pretty much cash. So be prepared for any kind of fuel cost fluctuations. Time management is very, very important because we are delivering time sensitive um deliveries, medications, orders, and stats. Okay. How do you handle your time management? Pack a lunch, fill up your car. I fill up my car at night sometime, y'all, sometime. But my goal is to fill up my car the night before. If I get up and I get a call at 5 o'clock in the morning and I got 30 minutes to get some, I got to stop and get gas. Now I got them went from 30 minutes to 20 minutes because 10 of that is for gas. So take care of your business beforehand so you can really maximize your time. Pack a lunch so you don't have to stop and get a lunch. Keep your car clean. Take everything out your car so when you're working and you're getting deliveries, you have the room and stuff that you need to fill up your car. Vehicle maintenance and breakdowns. Be prepared for that. A guy missed a whole week worth of work because his tire blew out and he didn't have the money. He had to wait until he got paid. When you're getting paid, your settlements, here's I say why you got to keep your business expenses low because you need to take every week a certain amount. You decide how much you're going to put away for vehicle maintenance and breakdowns. Okay. Seasonal demand variations. These package companies and routes was booming during Christmas time, right? I know people was doing 200 and 300 packages a day. But what happens in January when that holiday season is over? You don't went from doing 300 packages to maybe 100 a day. Are you prepared for that deep dive and cost for what you were bringing home? Be prepared for that. When it's good, put some money aside for slow days. I have a little PTO account that I got a little sick time account. I put money into a pool for that. So I'm prepared in case I'm sick and I have to be off or it's a slow week for me. I'm not so stressed out about meeting my weekly goal because I have a pool that I can pull from. And then regulatory compliance. Your certifications are good for 1 year. Okay. Double check. Know when that car insurance is time to be renewed. My birthday is in February, and every company that I'm contracted with has already emailed me about my car registration. Don't ignore the emails. Be sure that all of your documents are in compliance and you are within the time frame of renewal so that they don't expire and then now you can't work for that day because your insurance is expired or something or your HIPAA certification hasn't been renewed. So always be in regulatory compliance. Check. You're a business owner. Handle your business. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about courier companies. A lot of times you guys see a lot of people on TikTok and these social media platforms posting companies, right? I'm gonna give you a list of companies that I know a lot of people have been successful with onboarding with. They have a lot of accounts. These companies are in a lot of different states. As a business owner, you have to do your due diligence. And y'all are gonna hear me say that a lot. Your due diligence and research. You have to research, is this company in my area? What services are they offering? How many different accounts do they have? What do their routes look like? What is their onboarding process? You have to do that research. Okay. So some of the companies that are all companies are good. I don't have if I've had a bad experience with a company, that's my experience. It's not your experience. Go see for yourself. Okay. So some companies you can onboard with, and I've said it throughout the webinar, is US PAC. US PAC is in a lot of cities and states. Okay. They have multiple accounts. Pay is pretty decent. Okay. Courier Express is another one. Courier Express. Lab Express is a good company to onboard with. Lab Express. Lab Logistics. Lab Logistics. US PAC, Kimberly, that's correct. Okay. Need It Now. Need It Now does a lot of auto parts. Okay. All Med Express. All Med Express. Lasership. Great company to onboard with, and the pay is really good. Now we got a sister company here. It's SDS RX. That's Sam David Sam RX. And they are the sister company to MDS. MDS is a company that does a lot of the hazmat, the chemo, and they pay pretty decent. Great company to onboard with. A lot of cities and states. A lot of the managers that I've come across are very friendly and helpful. Repeat the one before. SDS and MDS. They are sister companies. What's another one? Fair Logistics, another good company before that. Lasership. Lasership. Hold on, let me get to this. I'm only seeing half of what she's saying. I'll get to the company.
Yeah, she's asking if we can put up a list.
Maybe
Let's
you can.
see. Well, yeah, here, let me see if I can put it on a note here. 1 second. Actually, that's not going to work for me.
Let me see.
But we'll get that before before it's over, and we'll post that back up, so that somebody can screenshot it.
Okay. Oh, it says chat is disabled.
Well, the chat should be active. It was disabled before, but you can drop some stuff in the chat if you need to, guys. So let's see here. So I think we kind of got ahead of ourselves with the bonus. You threw out the bonus there a little early.
Yeah.
But you know, we talked about the master contractor setup, the benefits of that, what that looks like. And I think that's probably a good goal for a lot of people, you know, to want to get to that master contractor level, because that sets you up. You know, you get into this to sort of have your own business. You want to have the freedom. You know, I posted a video the other day, you know, talking about, you know, not having to work till you're 50, 65, 70. You know, they're trying to raise the retirement age. So something like this can really get you that sort of freedom, because, you know, you go in and you negotiate the contract, and then you've got drivers underneath you doing the you know, the routes, while you kind of sit back. So this is retirement. I know, Renee, we talked about it and you joked about it, but, you know, you said that master contractor stuff is the retirement plan. That's going to give you the freedom that you want, you know, setting yourself up. And that's why I asked, because I know a lot of people were wondering, you know, what do you need to do to get yourself set up for that? So, because I think that should be a goal of everybody, you know, unless they're just, you know, like the people I talked about earlier that just kind of want to do this to generate a little extra income, which is fine. But a lot of us, you know, we get into business for ourselves, so we have that freedom, and you know, we can get out of the rat race.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the advantages are, of course, the freedom. Master contractor. As a master contractor, you can negotiate rates more so than independent contractor because you have that working business relationship with the business entity. Okay, that was another great advantages. Another advantage of being a master contractor is you have a staggered schedule, so you're not the ones running route. The subcontractors are, so now you can either go out and get more business, okay, come and um and have more contracts to be a master contractor with multiple companies. And now this is how you're building up your network of drivers, right?
Yeah.
Um, the contracting agreements, we talked about that non-compete, definitely have that in place. And then we talked about the payroll technology. What I didn't talk about that part of the technology is some companies you have to have scanners to scan barcodes and stuff like that. Either the company provides it or you're provided. If a company provides it, a lot of times they're going to charge you for that. So you may want to invest and have your own scanners and provide for your drivers. That's something to consider. Most companies work off an app. I know some companies they do charge for the app, a one-time fee to download it or something like that. So that's going to be a cost that you will incur as a contractor. But maybe if you have multiple vehicles and multiple drivers, are you going to have any kind of tracking device on those? Especially if you're providing those vehicles, any kind of tracking devices, and those tracking devices aren't to see where they are, but it tells you if they're speeding. It gives you um, a, a tracking of where they are. So if you're saying, okay, so what's your ETA? And they give you one time, you're able to verify that. It's also a safety protocol. A lot of times insurance companies give you a discount when you have those in your vehicles. And then we did talk about training, like you are responsible for your training. You also want to make sure with this the same with the seasonal demand variations that your drivers are prepared and have all of their documents for compliance in place as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we made it through. So I'm kind of looking the Q&A, but I always like to recap. So I want to kind of go. They've been on the webinar for the last 2 hours. They hear everything. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. I need some action steps. Give me some action steps. What do I do when I leave this webinar? Maybe 5 items that I can do tomorrow if I really want to do this and if I want to be successful. You know, we know you got to have the LLC. So that's one thing you can do. You need your tax ID, tax identification number. You go to I'm drawing a blank on the IRS.gov,
Mm-hmm.
and you get that. You get your bank account. Then what are some things I can be doing tomorrow if I'm set up?
Even without a business bank account,
Well,
LLC, none
let's
of
say
that.
I've got that. Let's say
Yeah,
I've got it. What
you
can I
can
do?
get your certifications.
Yeah.
Get your certifications. They take, depending on your learning style, an hour and a half at max. And then you can start applying. Go look at those courier boards and see what's available and what the requirements are so that you can see if make sure that you have them in place. Definitely go get some kind of marketing tools for your business, a business card, a flyer, or something like that. You can do that and can't some of y'all are creative. I don't know how to work Canva, but you can go and create that for free on your own. Then just take it and get it printed. Um, but most importantly, getting that LLC and stuff like that, get your certification. You can start applying. Here again, we didn't talk about this. Y'all don't have to wait to get a contract to start as a medical courier. You can get on some apps, some of the gig apps, laser ship, drop off, airspace, and you can work those apps until you are able to get a contract. What is it? Spark, Amazon Flex, all of Grub. When I started, because I started off with $750 a week, I had Grubhub and Amazon Flex in that contract, and that was putting me at 12 a week, $1,200 a week, until I started getting more contracts, and then I didn't have to work the apps. But that is not it's that working the apps and doing the food deliveries is not a bad thing until you get a contract because it's income is giving you the experience. You're learning the city, you get in the field what it's like to be in your cart, and you're waiting to get the contracts that you really want. So the apps are a good starting point for you as well. Do you have to have all the certifications? All the certifications is only technically really two: the HIPAA awareness and the bloodborne pathogen. Those are the two certifications. The TWIC card is highly suggested because you are able to get more orders, and you are able to put your business in a better position to get more contracts and better contracts, because you can do those airport cargo deliveries.
What
Blood,
says blood? Oh, bloodborne pathogen.
yes. IntegrityDelivers.com is the website for that.
Foster's asking, like, high level advice. Like, what's the main advice for getting contracts?
Read the contract. Read the contract and understand it before you commit. You got to read the fine print, you guys. They are charge you for everything under the sun. I call them pimp fees. Understand what that contract is saying and what it is requiring of you before you sign it and make that kind of commitment. Other advice I have: communicate. Communication is key. I talked about, communicating with dispatch, communicate with your operations manager, regional manager, whatever they call it. It's different names for different communicate. Don't be scared to ask questions. Don't suffer in silence. Ask questions. There is no dumb question. It is best to ask and get an understanding than to go and misdeliver. You guys, misdelivery is very common, and it can happen. And that is a HIPAA violation. It is an immediate termination, and it costs the company thousands of dollars when you misdeliver. And misdelivery is taking medication or delivery to the wrong address. So be very, very careful of that. Ask questions. If you don't know, ask.
Yeah. Did we discuss apps for medical courier? We got into it. Yeah. So apps and the websites are synonymous. They're asking if we talked about the apps. I'm assuming they're talking about Raymond.
One way you can find apps for medical courier is go on your app store and put in delivery driver or courier or independent contractor, and they're gonna come up.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, and you kind of touched on it. I'm just thinking of stuff. You touched on it, but obviously this is a medical courier webinar. We know the opportunity in medical webinar, but don't pigeonhole yourself into just medical courier. You talked about it, Renee, because there's gaps that you're gonna have. So you want to open it up to, like you said, flower delivery or auto parts or whatever, because some routes, like you said, you may take, and it might not be round trip. You might be opportunity to do some other stuff. So don't pigeonhole yourself into just medical. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity, but think outside the box too, since you're already be in that space.
I know everybody knows a real estate agent. Everybody knows a real estate agent. Everybody knows somebody that may either be a lawyer or connected to a lawyer. Do you know the demand for a courier for a lawyer's firm is very, very high, because they get in court and guess what? They don't have the document they need. Who goes and get that document? Or who goes and get that file? A courier. So a lot of law firms have couriers on call for that. A lot of doctors' offices hire couriers to do bank deposits. They don't have the kind of staff and time for staff to leave and do the bank deposits. I have a contract for that. I do bank deposits for a small dermatology clinic. I never post about it because I don't want people trying to figure it out and come knock me upside my head. So I never really post about my bank deposit contract. But small businesses hire couriers for that. A chef. If there's a chef that that does meal prep, ask them who does their delivery. So market yourself to smaller business. You can be a senior citizen concierge. I'm sure somebody at the senior citizens at these I'm not retail, sorry. assisted living facilities would much rather deal with a courier that they may have built a relationship with than a delivery driver going to get their medication. So put your business card on those boards at these senior citizens or assisted living facilities. Be creative with your thoughts and how you're going to market your business. That's where that business plan come in. Sit down and just think of ways and things and items that you can deliver in your car and put that into your business plan and then come up with a strategy. How you're going to market? What is your target audience? What do you want to charge for these services? So um, just be creative with your thoughts. Be creative and where you want your business to go.
Yeah, good. Let's see what else we got here before we start to draw this to a close. Let's see.
Okay. It says, what's your main advice on getting contracts? Wow, let me see. Understand the contract. Understand what the contract entails. Like I said, round trip miles, how many stops, um, where is it going? Are you gonna have to drive the highway or is it city miles? But that stop and go is more gas. You really have to figure out um what it is. Are you gonna have a niche for your business? I don't have a niche. I do it all the part. If it was a dog that needed to go somewhere and fit in my car, I would take it. I didn't really get a niche because I'm still learning. I'm still building. So definitely get a niche. But for with the contracts, read the contract and understand the contract is my best advice for that.
Okay. I was putting up your information. A lot of folks were asking how to get in touch with you. So I just put that up, guys. If you want to screenshot Renee's info, here's your chance. And I'll put mine up in just a second. So you can take note of mine too. Feel free to reach out, email. I give a phone number. So text is probably the best way because it's a Google Voice number, but I get text there. I'll be honest, a lot of times I don't pick up the phone, so that's probably not the best way to get me. But shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and I promise I'll be responsive. I can't promise that I'll respond within 10 minutes, but I try to get back to everybody at this point. I haven't gotten that big on social media, thank goodness. But I try to get back to everybody. So that's that. I got Renee's up. Let me put mine up.
Okay, before we go, you guys, and I did not mention this in the beginning, but I am a big believer in giving. I love to give. My blessing, my my blessings come in giving. Um, and I want to help some people out tonight. I want to help some people out. I have an ebook that is it's everything you need. A lot of what I pulled from the presentation is in the ebook, all the scripts and templates. And it's a really good guide for you to get started in the courier business. The ebook is $79, y'all. It's a still of a deal. But I want to bless 5 people tonight with the ebook. So how do I determine that? I I normally determine it by the chat.
Yeah. Well, we had some active Q&A, and if I could lobby for somebody,
go ahead, give me somebody. Let me see if we got.
Well, I was gonna say if I could lobby for somebody, it'd be Michelle.
I
saw her name.
I got Michelle.
Okay, she popped up a lot. She was asking some real good questions, really engaged. So if I could lobby for somebody, it'd be her.
Okay, give me one more name.
Let's see here. Who else do we have? I saw Raymond Williams. I saw his name pop.
I got.
You got Raymond.
I got. I got Lester. I didn't write Lester's last name. Can you put email back up. Here's the trick to the ebook, guys. It is a little trick. It is a little trick. I got Lester, Raymond, Michelle, Shelley. Last name starts with a W. I think is it Warren? Shelley. Shelley, where you at?
Oh yeah, it's Warren. Yeah.
Shelley Warren. Okay. And what was Lester? Lester.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find him.
And then I have Shayla Smith. So I got Lester, Shelley Warren, Michelle Thomas, Raymond Williams, and Shayla Smith. My email is on the screen. You have to the end of the night to email me to get the ebook. If you email me tomorrow, you're going to miss your opportunity. And I'm putting you guys to a test. When someone says, here is the portal, onboard your information, don't work till you get off your 9 to 5 or when you get to dinner. Y'all onboard that paperwork immediately. This is why I say have everything you need when you apply, because when they send that email and they want you to send some documents, I want you to have it. So y'all got to midnight to send me your email saying I won the free ebook, and I'm going to email it back to you. My email is on the screen. Lester, what is Lester's last name?
I didn't see him. We got so many.
Okay, Lester, I need your last name, hon. Because what happened before, there was some different same people with the same name
The
and
same
three
name.
people. So I need last names this time. So I had to give away a little bit more. I wanted to be fair. So
Norton.
I got
It's Norton. He just
Norton.
yeah. Norton.
Okay, Lester Norton, Shelley Warren, Michelle Thomas, Raymond Williams, and Shayla Smith. Please email me before midnight to get your free ebook. This is the ebook that's valued at $79. Okay. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time. I hope that all that were here got what you needed. If you didn't, email me. I could take some questions for you. Email Alton. He'll answer some questions. We want you to get what you need. My goal was for you guys to learn how to start a successful medical courier business. I also have a bundle deal that I'm offering for the class. This is for the participants of this class, the ebook, the group chat, my group chat, as well as the Courier profile packet. You can get the bundle deal for $99. Okay, it's on my Gumroad page, on my LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, on my TikTok link tree. Is the link for that. You get $134 value for $99, and that's going to be for you guys. I'll leave that up for a couple of nights. But if we didn't get to your question, email me. I'm sorry. We have a lot of information, guys. I mean,
Yeah, we do.
We spent a lot of time creating this curriculum for you guys, trying to give you as much as we could in this 2-hour time frame. You guys had a lot of good questions. I took notes on some of your questions. So we do appreciate your time. It is during the week, early beginning of the week. So I noticed that, that lets me know that you're hungry, you're wanting to get in this business. You can make a lot of money, guys. You can make a lot of money. Ask questions, don't be scared. Get out here, market yourself, and get them wheels rolling. Because you can really be successful. I quit my 9 to 5 to do this. I have a double master's degree. I'm educated, had a career in healthcare, but I quit to do this, and I've been very successful. I love what I do. And I thank you guys, because you guys keep me on my toes and how I can better myself and the questions that you ask. So I appreciate you guys for taking out the time to attend this webinar. And I pray and hope that if you got what you came expecting, if not, email me. I'd be happy to entertain your questions, get in a group chat. I can help you there as well. Thanks for everything. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'll say in closing too is I want your feedback. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. How about this? Since the chat's open, drop a 1 in the chat if you got something from this. If you got some action steps, if you kind of know next steps, what to do. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, look, I want your feedback, and in just a second, I'm going to put up my information again, and I'll put Renee's up one last time. But give me your feedback. I'll give you my phone number. I'm building out some stuff, community, where we'll talk about a lot of things, and not just medical courier. But I just interviewed somebody who's doing notary. Where notaries are seeing a lot of success as loan signing agents. I interviewed a dispatcher, and they kind of gave, spilled the tea on exactly how to do it. So I've got a lot of these things going on in the community that I'm putting together. I want to invite everybody. So just, if you follow me on TikTok, my link in the bio, just kind of peek in every once in a while and see what I have going on. But again, I want your feedback. So send me a text, a video text, a testimonial, if you got something from it, or if you didn't, if there's some feedback that you can offer, let me know. I want to hear from you guys. So, and folks that, send a testimonial, I'll have some free stuff for you. It'll be a surprise, but let me know. Let me know how we did. Let me know how we can improve on this. Let me know what content you want to see on TikTok or on Instagram or some of the other social media platforms. But just let me know. And I hope to see you guys soon. We'll be doing some big things in 2024, some meetups across the country and all that stuff. So you guys are invited. So let me put this information back up one more time. And so this is Renee's, of course. And
so the guys are asking about the ebook and stuff like that. The link is in my bio on my TikTok page. I'm at the Courier Chick, at the Courier Chick. If you want to get the ebook or the bundle, you can click the link in my bio. Thank you so much for the feedback. And then I see I have gotten some emails for the ebook, so that's great as well.
Oh, so that's Renee's, and this is mine. So again, let me know. Give me some feedback, guys. I want to hear from you because we'll be doing a lot more. As it relates to medical courier and some other things, like I said, I have going on here in 2024. So stay connected. I want to hear from you. So I'll leave that up. All right. All right, guys. Well, I hope you got a lot out of this. We're going to go ahead and close this out. Here on the East Coast, it's right at 9:30. So, Renee and I are going to catch up and call it a night and be in touch. Hope to see you guys in other trainings. Hope to see you guys on TikTok and Instagram or wherever you saw us. But take care. All right.
Bye, everybody. Good night.